Hey folks, how you doing? This is the last in the free video series about pain and pain management, pain reduction, blah blah blah. What we're going to go over today is aftercare. This is applicable to both artists and clients, so I'm just going to run through it, okay? You know, let's say your tattoo's a success, everything's great. You know, you've let it air for a couple of minutes before you go to bandage it up. What you guys can do, clean it up. You got a couple choices as to what to put on it. Two things that I would use. So either you're going to put your cling film on it, or you're going to put a porous burn bandage or something like that over it. Okay. Now, if you're going to use the burn bandage, tape that up. That's fine. It'll breathe. It'll do its own thing. It'll wick away the moisture as it comes away from the skin. Your skin will push out this like plasma yellowy looking stuff, okay? That'll kind of take most of that. With the cling film, that's fine as well. You still don't want to leave it on very long. So either one of those will work for now. Ideally, you want to try and stop the weeping from the skin before you apply either of them at the end of the tattoo. Okay, so let's say that you go to place the cling film on. Both examples work, burn bandage or cling film, right? So let's say you use the cling film. As a client, there's a few things you need to expect, right? You don't want to leave that cling film on any longer than, say, I don't know, 4 hours max. If you're going to be hot and sweaty with whatever it is that you do straight after your tattoo, I do recommend that you get that off sooner rather than later. Now, the next set of rules apply. There's no negotiation here, okay? Best thing for you to be doing, or in my experience, the best thing for you to be doing, is take that cling film off or your burn bandage, jump in the bath or shower. Couple rules while you're in there though. First thing you're going to do is lather up your soap. You're going to lather up into a foam, okay? You're just going to push the foam around the area, right? You're not going to scrub it, you're not going to rub it and get right in there. You're just going to push the foam around. The bubble should do the work for you. Rinse that off, jump out, towel yourself down, grab a fresh towel and pat this down. That's all you got to do. Don't rub it, don't scrub it, don't do anything, just pat it down. Once it's pat down, it's going to continue to weep a little bit, okay? Now, this is just your body trying to seal its wound, whatever. It's normal, okay? So, let it weep. Keep that fresh towel on hand because you're going to want to keep patting that down, right? You do not, and I repeat, you do not apply your aftercare until it stopped weeping. Now, that might not be at the end of the day that you have your tattoo done. It might be the following day that it's completely dried up. In that case, that's when you apply your aftercare if you're choosing to use one. When it's dry and you apply your aftercare, that's cool. If you apply your aftercare while it's still wet, you do actually keep the wound open for longer, therefore promoting infection, blah blah blah, right? Simple. It's not gonna, it's not rocket science, but just. And the other thing to know is if you do end up with a scab and then you apply too much aftercare and you keep that scab wet, it actually allows bacteria to kind of work its way into your skin. So something to pay attention to. Now, what to expect? There's going to be some swelling localized in more cases than not. You are going to get that weeping that will happen randomly if you catch your tattoo or something like that after it's after your tattoo day while it's healing. Likelihood it's going to bleed a little bit. It's going to try and seal that wound up. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you end up with ink loss in those cases. Do you want to take painkillers? That's entirely your guys' call. I'm not medically trained in any way, shape or form, so that is entirely up to you. Me personally, I can tell you what I do. I will take ibuprofen just because it helps reduce my swelling. I'm also, big thing, you must have noticed there's a running theme with this stuff, food. Keep eating because it does reduce the pain, right? If you don't eat after your tattoo, the next day you're going to feel like you've been hit by a truck or just a little bit lethargic, okay? Eat, please eat, okay? Now, your scab should start to form anywhere between sort of the 2-3 day mark all the way up to maybe the 7-8 day mark, right? It should be, flaking away from that point, maybe from, I don't know, 7 right the way up to day 14, right? Might start flaking away. Heavier areas where they've worked a bit more may have a thicker and denser scab than areas that won't really work. If you just skirt across with some really nice shading, that's not going to produce a lot of damage. therefore your scab won't be as much. I'm not saying this is always the case. Other people work differently to other artists, right? So if you have a situation where you have a heavy scab throughout, okay, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes I've done work where there's no scab at all. It just looked like dry skin peeling. That's it, right? It really depends on the type of work that's being done for you. As a client, you are responsible for what happens to your skin outside of the studio. I don't get to come home with you. I don't get to hold your hand and show you how it's done. It is on you. Nobody else. You. Well, ultimately, what you're going to be doing is looking at it as a wound, right? Don't treat it any other way. It is a wound. You cannot show it off. Give it a couple weeks to heal, then you can start showing it off, okay? Bio oils and things like that at the end of the heal are really, really good just to kind of regenerate that skin, get that gray sort of dry look to dissipate a little bit faster. But ultimately, there's no secret. You keep it clean, you keep it dry, you keep it out of the sun, you don't go swimming with it until it's completely sealed and healed, right? Now, sealed is one thing, that'll happen within a day, all right? Healed is your 10 to 14 day period afterwards, right? Unless you've had an accident. If you've caught your scab or something like that, chances are that scab will be there for ages, right? So please, 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 please pay attention, okay, to your aftercare. Creams. What do you want to use for creams? I mean, for me, I use a good skin moisturizer. I'm not going to sit here and name brands and stuff, but a generic skin moisturizer for men. As long as it doesn't have a lot of wax content, I'm pretty okay with that. It works. I only tend to need one application a day. That's enough for me. However, if you're in a higher, friction area or something like that, the crease of the hip, maybe your rib cage, this particular outside part of the bicep, those areas really do need a little bit more attention. Okay, I'm not saying coat them so much. Remember that it keeps the scab wet, but just enough to help keep that redness down, right? That soreness down. The redness is a thing that you should expect during the heal. That's usually something that happens when your skin is too tight. Please just make sure that your skin isn't so dry that the scab is starting to crack, right? If your scab starts to crack, you then end up with some soreness, redness, so on and so forth. That's not to be confused with infection. If you are worried about infection, you must go and see your doctor, but please also contact your tattooist just to make sure that there's no issues with their equipment and stuff like that. That's basically it. If you want a list of what could possibly be negative side effects, then message me, message the page, leave a comment, do whatever, and we'll run through that for you. If we have to, we'll produce another video. But in a nutshell, what you've got is your bandage is going to come off within the first 4 hours. You're going to jump in the bath or shower. You're going to clean yourself up. You're going to pat your tattoo down until it completely dries out. You're going to start applying your aftercare probably the next day, okay? And only when it's dry. Don't apply your tattoo aftercare until the tattoo is completely sealed and dry and stopped bleeding. Other than that, keep it out of the sun. Don't pick it. Don't scratch it. Just leave it alone. It's going to be itchy. It's going to piss you off. But just pat it, and don't sit there and pick it and scratch it. All that hard work that your artist has put through, all that pain that you've suffered through, just to pick the scab away, don't do it to yourself. So that's that in a nutshell. If you need anything else, contact us. But for the moment, that's probably the end of our free series. What I might look at doing, if you guys want, is possibly maybe a drawing thing, show you how I draw. But it really does come down to whether you guys ask for it or not. I'm pretty busy. We are fully booked. What is today? It is the 1st of May when I recorded this. I am fully booked until October 2018. So I don't have any space. We're stuck trying to make sure everybody's getting their artwork done on time. So, unless you guys ask for it specifically, I have got a lot of other work to be doing. But the products work. The course works. There's a reason we're booked and we're running a successful business. There's a reason that Catherine is successful. That's because we follow these principles, that are outlined in the course that we produce. Like I said, if you have questions, ask. Right? That's it. Hopefully it helped. Hopefully you learned a couple things. If you guys have got suggestions or you want to argue a point, that's fine. Just give me a shout. Okay, take care of yourselves.